And welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to be making this gorgeous headband, and this is for an adult, and this has been done with Magical by Red Heart. And the yarn changes textures, it changes shape. It is really quite incredible. Where things end up is basically up to the yarn because everything's not really planned. You just put two balls together. So here's my little tip for you. Always got little tips. So I have one ball left here of Red Heart Magical, and I want to use this for a headband. Unfortunately, I don't have a second ball. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to slip off the label on this bad boy. I'm going to grab the yarn from the inside, which I have here, and I'm going to grab the yarn from the outside of this ball in order to make this headband. So therefore, I don't have to buy two balls. I can just use the same ball, but just grab it from both ends so that I have the equivalent of two strings. How's that for you? So let's get started on this headband. Feel free, by the way, to substitute this yarn for anything that you have in your stash. I know I'm going to get complaints. People are saying they're allergic to wool or this and that. So I expect you to substitute it to whatever that you can find in your yarn stash. This is a really great scrap buster as well. So I'm using a size 6.0 millimeter or J hook today, using two strands at one time. And so we're just going to operate as if they're one. And let's just create a slip knot. And there are slower videos available for those that are just starting out. I would classify this as a starting pattern as well. So we're just going to create a slip knot. So we're just going to operate it so that the two strings are always together, so we don't have to worry about those. And I want you to chain 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And that is where you have to go first. So let's begin, and I'm going to show you the next step next. To begin, we're going to be doing a double crochet, and we're going to do it fourth from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, go fourth where my thumb is, and I'm just going to double crochet. Now the advantage to this project is that the yarn is going to constantly change texture and color throughout the project, so you don't have to do a lot of fancy stitch work because the yarn's going to do the work. Simply just double crochet all the way down the line, and wherever the yarn ends up being, if there's a yarn color that's kind of bothering you within the ball, you can, and when you see that it's coming down the yarn ball, you can always take it out and just wind it out, and then just reattach the yarn where you like the color. So you don't have to accept everything that comes off the yarn ball. You can mix or match or decide whatever you want. Remember, you are the crochet artist. You can do whatever you want to do. So we're just double crocheting ourselves. This is the thickness for this particular project. It's the hat. It's like going over top of your ears, so you don't want to be too jinsy. Some people make their headbands a little bit too thin just to speed themselves up, but then they kind of suffer the consequences with the ear hanging out here and there. So this will really cover your ear and be really nice and warm during the winter. I think this color for myself would just go with my winter coat a lot more better. So I've just crocheted all the way down, and so simply what I want you to do is just simply turn it. I want you then to crochet up 3, so sorry, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then simply just working back and forth, and make sure that this matches around the top of your head. So I'm going to come back in just a few seconds and give you some tips on what you can do in order to make this fit your head really well. I'd like to show you another idea that you could do with this if you wanted not to have just such a straight idea. You can also do back and front loops if you wanted to, but if you just did back loops for the entire project, you will end up with the gorgeous ribbing effect as well. So how we do that is that when you look at a stitch, there's always 2 on here. I know this is probably more for a seasoned crocheter, but there's always 2 loops that you see. So this is the front loop, the other one is the back loop. So when you go to double crochet, if you go down into the back loop only, you will cause the project to having a ribbing effect in the horizontal direction. So you just simply just dig down in behind to get that back loop only, and you will have some great stitch work as well. So it's a great opportunity. So you just go back and forth on the back loop only. I think I'm going to do that for this entire project just to give this project a little more of a wow factor than just straight crochet back and forth. To answer a question that I know I'm going to get, people are going to start asking me on the end what happened. I'm still doing the back loops only. I'm doing it for the entire project, and you can see that the ribbing effect is starting to take shape. It's giving it more of a three-dimensional look. And so what's going to happen on the end, because you cannot see the back or the front post that clearly because you are crocheting into the starting chain from the last row, right? So I'm just going to get right to the end. So I'm on the last one. You're just simply just going to go into the chain. You're not going to worry about front or back posts, because simply if you try to worry about that, you're not going to be able to be successful with it. So it gives you a really good three-dimensional look when you do it this way. So now we're going to size the headband to Daniel's head here. Say hello, Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
So I roped him off the couch enjoying his tea.
Yeah, well, it's morning tea.
So what we have here is the headband. I haven't actually secured it into a round circle yet because I want to make sure it fits him first. So here's a tip. When you're wrapping it around, I would normally do this with myself without ever having somebody to do it for me. But when you wrap it around, you do not want it so that the points on the outside are overlapping each other. You want to keep somewhat of a gap, because the thing about crochet is once it stretches, it doesn't go backward. And what we want to do is just keep it nice and snug so that there's just a little seam instead. So when we go to close it, that this headband will stay snug to your head and not overstretch and then want to slip down onto your neck, just like so. So let's begin putting these two together, and simply I am just going to put this stitch. Okay, so we want to match. We know that the stitches are the same on both sides as far as count. So we just want to come into the gap space on the other side and just grab the yarn and go around. And so basically we are crocheting these shut with a single crochet. So I just crocheted around just to grab it into position. I chain one, and now I just go into the stitch on this side. I'm going to go into the gapping space on this side. See, because the way that we started, there really is no stitch on the other side, so I'm just going into the gapping space instead, and then we're just single crocheting this shut. So we're going in the next stitch, next gap on the other side, and we're single crocheting ourselves all the way across this to bring it to a conclusion. So essentially what's going to happen here is that it's going to be creating a seam line, and the seam line will be on the inside of this headband, so it'll be toward your skin when you turn it inside right. And we're just working our way all the way across, matching everything. So what happens if you've lost a stitch or you've gained a stitch along the way? Fake it. Just ram in a couple extra stitches to kind of pull it together. So for example, I didn't do it, but say for example on the other side that I have an extra, I would go into the same stitch, grab the extra, and then what it will do is it'll pull it backward. And then I'm going to go into the final one over here, and the final one over there, just like that, and bring it to a conclusion. Let's grab our scissors and cut, pull out. Okay, and we just want to just seal this into position. I'm just weaving in my ends so that they don't fall out. I can put an extra loop in there too, just to be sure. And we also have the strings left from the very first over here. So what I'm going to do though there is just take that extra string and also weave it into position as well. I'm just putting an extra loop in there as well just to lock it into position. And as soon as you have enough there, you can just simply trim all the loose ends like so, turn it inside right, and voila, you now have your full headband. And this is absolutely incredible. I really liked how the stitches just worked out, and you have a really unique idea, a great gift for somebody that you think is a little bit artistic, or if you wanted something extra special for your winter outfits. Until next time, I'm Mikey from the Crochet Crowd. Hey, and just one more thing before I let you go. You know, one thing with these kind of textured yarns is that some of the yarns change thickness or change shape just on how they work out. And I know some people have a really big deal when it comes to, you know, yarn changing texture. That's the whole wonderful thing about these particular headbands, is that they are artistic in nature, is that the yarn does change, and because the yarns change thickness, it also changes the thickness here and there throughout the headband as well. So don't be scared of any kind of textured yarn like that. If you're not liking this kind of idea, you can always go to yarns that are thicker, but don't change any textures in order to keep your consistency.